These dolls' eyes, like ancient pools of polished obsidian, have witnessed centuries of death. They sit, unblinking, within the dim, dust-laden confines of an antique shop, their glassy orbs staring out with an unnerving blankness. Do not mistake them for mere toy eyes, devoid of feeling or memory. These are windows that have stared directly into the heart of generations of fear, imprints of terror etched into their very being. The doll itself is a relic of a forgotten era, its once smooth porcelain now a tapestry of fine, spiderweb cracks, each fissure a scar from the passage of time and untold trauma. Its dress, a ghost of its former glory, once a vibrant splash of colour, now hangs in faded, tattered remnants, whispering of a lost elegance. A faint, almost imperceptible chill emanates from its delicate form, a cold that seeps not just into the air, but into the very soul of anyone who draws too near. Its true origin remains shrouded in mystery, a question mark hanging heavy in the dusty air, lost to the annals of history. Yet, whispers persist like dry leaves skittering across a desolate courtyard about its creator. A man named Silas, a recluse who dwelled in the echoing halls of a sprawling, decaying mansion, a place where shadows clung to every corner and the very walls seemed to sigh with decay. Silas was consumed by an all-consuming obsession with life, a desperate, burning desire to cheat the inevitable grasp of death itself. Rumors, dark and unsettling, spoke of forbidden pacts made in secret, of bargains struck with entities beyond mortal comprehension, all in pursuit of eternal existence. His final magnum opus, his ultimate testament to this insatiable quest, was this very doll. Into its delicate frame, Silas poured the entirety of his being. His life's work, the culmination of years of obsessive study and desperate experimentation, was infused into this creation. He poured in his deepest, most primal fears, the knowing dread that had haunted his waking hours and invaded his dreams. And most potent of all, he poured in his desperate, all-consuming ambition, the ambition for a life that would never end. Then, as abruptly and inexplicably as he had lived, Silas vanished. He left behind the echoing silence of his grand, decaying mansion, a tomb of his aspirations. Only this doll remained, a silent, porcelain witness to his obsessions, a chilling monument to his hubris. Eventually, it was discovered, unearthed from its dusty slumber by an antique dealer, a man with a keen eye for the unusual and a susceptibility to the allure of the past. The shop owner, drawn by an almost magnetic pull, a morbid, inexplicable curiosity, placed it on a high shelf, where it seemed to survey the comings and goings of every visitor, its glass eyes tracking their every move. It wasn't long before the unsettling occurrences began. Objects placed in close proximity to the doll would inexplicably and rapidly decay, as if touched by a spectral blight. A gleaming brass candlestick, polished to a mirror shine, would be found tarnished and corroded overnight. A simple wooden box, solid and sturdy, would splinter and warp as if succumbing to some unseen rot. Even photographs, capturing moments frozen in time, would fade with alarming speed, becoming mere ghosts of their former selves, their colours leached away. It was as if the doll possessed an insatiable hunger, a void that actively drained the very essence of life from its surroundings. The shop owner, a man accustomed to the peculiarities of old things, grew deeply uneasy. He tried to move the doll, to displace it from its unsettling perch, but his hands felt strangely numb, as if encased in ice. A strange, unseen resistance pushed back, a palpable force that defied explanation. He was overcome by a profound, bone-chilling sense of dread, a fear that he could neither articulate nor comprehend. The shop owner, desperate for answers, called in scientists, men of logic and reason, to examine the phenomenon. They meticulously studied the rapid decay, their instruments probing for any discernible cause. They found no trace of chemical agents, no unusual radiation, no logical explanation that fit within the known laws of science. The decay was eerily localized, confined only to the objects in the immediate vicinity of the doll. It was as if the doll was a miniature black hole, a point of absolute entropy, sucking the very life force from the air, from the wood, from the metal. Some theorized the existence of a unique, unknown energy field, a force that defied all established principles of physics. Yet the doll remained an enigma, a beautiful, terrifying enigma, its silent gaze holding secrets no one could decipher. Then, Eliza entered the picture. A young woman with an artistic soul and a deep, almost magnetic fascination for the macabre. She felt an inexplicable pull towards the doll, a connection that transcended the unsettling aura that surrounded it. She saw past the superficial decay, past the cracked porcelain and faded fabric. She saw, instead, the intricate craftsmanship, the meticulous detail, the artistry that Silas had poured into its creation. The shop owner, his voice tinged with a weary apprehension, tried to warn her, recounting the strange occurrences, the inexplicable decay. But Eliza, an artist herself, a kindred spirit who appreciated dedication and passion, dismissed his fears. She saw only the beauty, the tragic artistry, and she bought the doll. She named it Serafina. Eliza placed Serafina on her mantelpiece, a prominent place in her vibrant apartment, a space filled with her own colourful art and thriving plants. But soon, a subtle shift began. Her once lush, verdant plants began to wilt, their leaves curling and browning. Her favourite silver locket, a cherished memento, turned dull and tarnished, its gleam extinguished. Even her sketches, her vibrant expressions of creativity, seemed to lose their vitality, their lines appearing somehow flatter, less alive. Eliza herself began to experience a constant, knowing fatigue, a pervasive sense of unease that settled deep within her bones. She started having nightmares, vivid, disturbing dreams filled with the spectral presence of Silas. He was always there, lurking in the shadows of her subconscious, his eyes burning with an unnatural, predatory light. Slowly, agonizingly, Eliza began to understand. The doll wasn't merely haunted, a vessel for some lingering spirit. It was something far more sinister. It was an active entity, a parasitic force that was feeding, relentlessly feeding, on Eliza's very life force. It consumed her creativity, her passion, her energy, her very essence. The decay she witnessed was merely a symptom, a visible manifestation of its insatiable, parasitic nature. It was an entity trapped in porcelain, born from Silas's desperate ambition, his unholy pacts for eternal life. He had not achieved immortality himself, but he had successfully transferred his obsession, his unyielding desire to exist, into his final, terrifying creation. Desperate, Eliza tried to escape its influence, to sever the connection. She placed Serafina in a sturdy box, locking it away in the deepest recess of her closet, hoping to banish it from her life. But even then, she couldn't escape its presence. She felt its cold, watchful gaze, an invisible weight pressing down on her. In the dead of night, she would hear faint whispers, a child's voice, chillingly clear, calling her name. The nightmares intensified, becoming more vivid, more terrifying. She saw Silas's face in her dreams, no longer a lurking shadow, but a triumphant figure, his face contorted in a chilling smile, a smile of pure, unadulterated pleasure. One morning, Eliza was simply gone, vanished without a trace, leaving behind an apartment that appeared undisturbed, almost as if she had never been there at all. Her keys lay on the table, her purse rested by the door, mundane objects in an otherwise empty space. The only thing out of place, the only discordant note in the silent symphony of her absence, was the doll. Serafina sat serenely on the mantelpiece, her glass eyes seeming to gleam with a newfound, almost triumphant, light. Beside her, resting on the polished wood, was a single cryptic note, a final, chilling message from the void. It simply read, "He watches. No one ever found Eliza." Eventually, the doll was recovered, its unsettling aura undimmed, and returned to the antique shop, and so the cycle began anew. What forgotten horrors, what silent spectres, lurk within your own cherished heirlooms.